Good afternoon, everybody. Okay, that was my Chris Russo. Once a week, I got to get that out. I love that guy. Some Bruce Springsteen in the background someday, and who knows, maybe Sirius Radio, that is. But it's our weekly trip across to PA in the house. The one and only Mr. Dan Alexander getting us caught up to speed in the Premier League. As we are in the back nine of the season, a handful of weeks left as we get ready for the playoffs, where 7 out of 8 teams make the playoffs. We talked last week about, is there anyone getting themselves into position and starting to play better that maybe can catch lightning in a bottle like last year? Or is this going to be Chalk City? Who knows? And I do know this, that, let me see, is it tonight? Yes, it is. Dan's got the Eagles and the Jets tonight. And he's got the Eagles shirt on as well. So without further ado, let's bring him in, the man with the plan, the one, the only, Mr. Dan Alexander.
That's right, baby. Birds football is back, Jeff. Let's go. Yeah, you know what? Even before we start getting into a little PLL action, you and I have some fun things in the work coming up for football season. So, Eagles, first half, money line. Lay it, -130. There's the free play right at the top there. We're going Eagles, first half. They're going to start off hot. And then once the backups get in, who knows what's going to happen after that? But Eagles are going to be winning at halftime. Book it, Jeff.
What's going on with Jalen? Jalen going to get any snaps or any of the number one guys, or is it just we're not sure yet?
So Nick Sirianni did say that the starters are going to see time. Is what we've heard from head coach Nick Sirianni. Is they will see time. Does that mean one play? Does that mean one series, 2 series, a quarter? We don't know how long they're going to be playing, but Eagles fans heading down to Lincoln Financial Field should have at least a reason to be a little excited, Jeff, because according to the head coach, we're going to see some of these starters. And if we can get a Jalen Hurts to A.J. Brown touchdown, whew, you might be hearing that link sounding like how it did for the first preseason game that Terrell Owens was in town. He scored a touchdown in his first game as an Eagle, and dude, you can find the clip anywhere. Like search Terrell Owens first Eagles touchdown. It's electric, man.
Are you high on AJ Brown, or is Devontae Smith the guy that's going to take the step forward? Or, I mean, listen, I liked AJ coming out of school. I thought he was in a good spot with Tennessee. Obviously flies the coop and goes to Philly. A better situation there, I think, obviously. What's your expectations for A.J. Brown?
The thing is with A.J. Brown is you even go back to his career at Ole Miss. Since he's been a freshman then, factor in what he's done during that span of time at Ole Miss and what he's done in the NFL, he still has averaged his entire career 15 yards per catch. Since he was so this isn't like a little small sample size. Like this guy can make plays happen. And honestly, I don't know if I'm like as bullish on him from a fantasy standpoint, just because I have to kind of see how his role fits in. But he's instantly going to make this offense better because now Devontae Smith, who already didn't have that awful of a rookie campaign, even with the struggles that Jalen Hurts had. Now you're going to be having Devontae Smith not having the number one corner traveling with him the entire game. So now you have 2 players who essentially would be the starting wide receiver, the one for any team. I think it's only going to help their passing game, and I think it's going to help our guy Miles Sanders as well, opening some things underneath for him, buddy.
I had talked, I think, last week to you. That's the gift that keeps on giving and still can get him at that 6-7 round.
That average draft position on Miles Sanders is absurd right now. Like that is a no-brainer if he's sitting around in your 4th, 5th round. Oh my, you can't get better value than that, Jeff.
No, and if I'm waiting on a tight end, just a little, staying away from the top tier, I'm all in on Goddard. I love Goddard this year.
Oh yeah, you think so? The thing is with him is you keep waiting for him to kind of have his coming out party. You know what I mean? Like he has a play here, he has a flash there. And historically, this Eagles offense has always been a very tight end dominant. Even when you go back to Brent Selleck, who he wasn't any crazy playmaker like that. He was just a grinder, a lunch pail guy. Dallas Goedert, I think, is another guy who's going to benefit from A.J. Brown going, because the thing is with A.J. Brown is he's not just the wide receiver that's going to take the top off. Yes, he can do that, but he makes a living in the middle of the field. And if you have a wide receiver like A.J. Brown who's able to draw coverage, have those safeties creep down to cover him, that's only going to help out your tight end. I expect to see him in some 11 tight end or some 11 sets, and potentially even get Grant Calcaterra out there as well. I think he's going to be a kind of under the radar sneaky rookie who's going to see some time, and I think he reaches the end zone a couple times for the Birds this year. So as you can tell, man, I'm all eagled up. Like I'm always excited for the preseason to come. I'm always excited when the Eagles games are back until about the third quarter. And then I'm just like, all right, man, I'm ready. That's why I'm doing the Eagles first half, because I don't even know if that's still going to be on, since we got PLL games that are facing off at 8 o'clock. I might only be 30 minutes on the Bird game and then switching over to what could be the game of the year between Atlas and the Whips.
Quick recap of last weekend plays, how you did overall, what you saw last week, any upsets, anything in particular sticking out overall?
I think one thing that's sticking out is, man, if the Cannons want to make the playoffs, they got to charge now. They're now in a win out. You know what I mean? Like, they can't afford to lose any more game. They're eliminated with a loss. They need some help as well. They need the Chaos to also lose. Chaos are playing Archers this week, but I hope people are listening to the show last week, Jeff, because I told you, stay away from the sides. I had some leans. I had some totals. My thought on the total and having these games all be going, potentially playing towards unders because they were playing at altitude, that wasn't a good one. Overs went 3-1. So I'm glad it was only leans for me, because, sometimes that's why you don't want to go all in when you feel like you have an angle, right? Because everything that we were talking about made sense. They've been traveling for 9 straight weeks. They're now playing at altitude in Colorado. There's going to be fatigue. There's going to be potentially teams who have already clinched the playoffs. So the handicap was rock solid. Just the results were different. So that's why, when we give leans on here, if you have a stronger opinion, would love for you to bet them. But where we were diving in on last week, Jeff, was the player props. And the only one that we missed was Will Manny. We lost that one by the hook. The hook giveth and the hook taketh away, because we got our Scanoni over by the hook at 10.5. So that saves at the end of the game got me all kinds of pumped up. But, unfortunately, then at the end of the weekend, that Will Manny play that was a co-best bet, he lost by the hook. So the hook giveth, the hook taketh away, but still 3-1 on the weekend with the plays that we gave here. One of them was that nice plus 145 play that we had. We also had Trevor Baptiste at plus 175 to score a goal. He did that in the first quarter. So if you weren't profitable listening to this show last week betting the PLL, Jeff, you ain't paying attention, because we had another great week. I think the worst that I've done is had a 500 week. I have not been not turned a profit any week this season betting the PLL, which, it's commendable and exciting when you're able to do that, sustain 9 weeks through a season.
Where are the games this weekend?
So this weekend we're at altitude again. It'll kind of be interesting. The air didn't quite come out of the ball the way I thought it would. If anything, the defenses were struggling a little bit more with the altitude, keeping up with the offenses. That might be something to look into with some lower totals this week, only 24s and 23s that we're seeing across the board. But they're in Salt Lake City this week. And the interesting note is, you think way back when we started doing, not as frequent shows, was when the PLL was in the bubble. Remember when it was in 2020, when there was not really, much else going on. So where they played at the bubble was in Utah. And that's where I started betting the PLL. It was the first season that we allowed it. But whenever I'm doing my season long trends and the trends going back to last year that I love sprinkling in, the reason why I don't include 2020 is because it was anomaly. Like, if you're handicapping NBA, you're not going to throw in what happened in the bubble into your handicapping, because it was just a different environment. So while we have been able to bet on lacrosse since 2020, really, I feel like 2021 and this year are the results that you're really starting to be able to extrapolate some information from.
4 games. And tonight we start off with 2 of them. Atlas versus the Whip Snakes. Currently, Whip Snakes minus 125 on the money line, Atlas minus 105, and under over of 23 and a hook juiced over minus 125. You can get the Whip Snakes minus a goal and a half plus 125, or the Atlas plus 1.5 minus 155.
Yeah, I mean, this is what I alluded to at the top, Jeff, is we could be seeing game of the year. I think that this is really a spot for Atlas to prove have they turned this corner, because the Whip Snakes, they're in the driver's seat. I would be shocked if they're not going to be our number one overall seed. And what are you playing for when you have the number one overall seed? You're playing for a bye. And that's pretty big at the end of the season. We see that every year in NFL when you're able to get that rest, especially a team that's clearly trying to get that top seed. Atlas need to come out and need to take down the Whip Snakes. And if they are able to do it, Jeff, it'll be the first time in the history of the PLL, not just since we've been tracking lines, since 2019, since this league was founded, Atlas have never beaten the Whip Snakes. So I think they have their best team this year. I think they have their best chance to do it. And at even money on the money line, that's going to be a pregame sprinkle for me. I'm definitely taking that 1.5 with Atlas because they just need to kind of get right a little bit more than the Whips do. And if you're looking at this Whip Snakes team, it's just been profitable while they win games. They don't really cover games. I'm crunching my numbers right here, Jeff, while we're live on air together. But this Whip Snakes team, as far as covering the spread, it's been a dicey proposition for them. So as 1.5 point favorites this season, or actually, let me grab this Whip Snakes number because the 1.5 point favorites just across the board haven't been good. Underdogs it's like 18-10 or something like that heading into this week with the 1.5 spread. But this Whip Snakes team, only 2-5 covering the number this season when they're laying the 1.5 points. If you go back to last year, it's nothing new because it was 3-10 against the spread as 1.5 point favorites are the Whip Snakes. So just taking the team with the plus 1.5, especially when you have a motivation edge, I think it's a no-brainer. You got to lay a little bit of juice to do it with Atlas, but I'm going with that Atlas and that money line sprinkle because if they cover it, I wouldn't be shocked if they win it outright.
And a prop for the game.
Oh, we got a fun prop here, and we got a juicy prop here, Jeff. It is one of those that kind of doesn't feel that great because it's not like this guy is dropping assists all the time, and that's why we're getting the number we are. I'm looking at Baccaro of the Atlas over a half assist. Reason being is just because whenever I see these numbers where you have players that only need to get one, it's just a very advantageous position. And Baccaro has been on offense, and one of the best plays for Atlas has been this play where Baccaro dodges, and then he does a little bit of like a step down fake shot where then he'll pass it on the doorstep to Jeff Teat. And we know we like it when Jeff Teat is on the doorstep. So if we can get that Baccaro to Jeff Teat connection, sure, it's a little bit tough because, yes, Baccaro had an assist last week, but he only has 3 assists on the year, and that's in 8 games played. So it doesn't happen often, but we're getting plus 185, Jeff. To get 1 assist, I just think that number tells me that's worth a sprinkle because if we can get home that Atlas money line ticket, if we can get Baccaro plus 185, we're automatically profitable on this game with 2 potential plus money tickets. So I love that Baccaro over the half assist just because all we're asking for is 1, man. Let's go Baccaro.
10:30. Water Dogs, Redwoods. Currently, Water Dogs minus 175. Redwoods plus 140, and under over of 24 and a hook, minus 115 either side. Water Dogs minus a goal and a half, minus 125. Redwoods plus a goal and a half, minus 105.
Here's the thing that I'm split on and why this is going to be a pass game for me. I do have a player prop coming up for you, and it's my best player prop of the week. Another really nice plus money play that I love. I would be surprised if we can't get this one home. I really want to play the over in this game simply because both of these offenses are doing tremendous right now. Water Dogs are taking the most shots in the league. Redwoods is a team that their goalie situation hasn't been great. They started off the year with Timmy Troutner. They've since switched to Kelly. Neither of them is really stellar in their role. And Redwoods have also woken up offensively, which is a prop that we're going to be getting into of why they've woken up offensively. But this total is just keeping me away. I think it's a really good one by the odds makers because this is the first time these two teams are playing this year. So there's not real familiarity with them. There's nothing that we can say, well, look at what happened in week 2. But we can look back to last year. They played 1 game How about a 19-16 win for the Redwoods? A 35-goal game. I mean, I gotta lean over with it, with how these teams match up schematically against each other. But just that 24.5 being tied for the highest total of the week. I still have concerns about these teams playing at altitude. I know it didn't work for us last week, but that's why I'm just going to pass it. I lean heavy on the Redwoods. I might get on the Redwoods before this game, plus that 1.5, because you're not laying much juice to do it. Only minus 105 to get a goal and a half, a spot that we've told you how profitable it is. So number one, you're getting a really advantageous spot just on a blind play. And I think the Redwoods could win this game outright. Like, I hate to say that the Water Dogs are due a little bit, but I do think it's fair to say that the Water Dogs are overachieving a little bit on this little stretch that they've had. Yes, they were able to take down the Whip Snakes. Yes, they were able to beat some other players, but at the same time, the other team that they beat was the Cannons. So you're telling me, oh my goodness, this team's incredible. The other thing is 4 straight games, 2 of them overtime games, have been 1-goal games for this Water Dog team, Jeff. I just don't think that's sustainable. So a little pre-flop, give me that Redwoods plus 1.5 at minus 105. I love that, and might even do a little money line sprinkle, but I think I'm going to go with the safer 1.5 in this one, Jeff.
And the prop.
Oh, this one's fun, and I had to switch my headphones there because they, of course, the AirPods want to die in the middle of the show, but that's why I'm prepared, man. I already got the wired headphones, so there's no scrambling, there's no oh shit moments. I come prepared when I'm on with you, Jeff. How about that switch right there? That was mid-season form.
Dude, that's Sharapan-esque.
If only. So in this one, the one that's standing out to me that I just adore is Rob Pennell over 2.5 assists. Rob Pennell has really embraced this role. He used to kind of be a more ball dominant guy who loved to dodge, and he still is doing that to a degree. However, since he's embraced being a little bit more of a passer, that's when you've seen this second half of the year emergence for Redwoods. He's not really, forcing himself into bad spots, and you're getting plus 145 on this. He's had 12 assists in the last 4 games. Half of those were 3 assists coming in 2 straight games. So he's covered this number in 2 straight games, and the Redwoods have looked stellar. He's also, I went back to see how these teams match up. He's played the Water Dogs twice in his career. He's had 3 assists both times that he's played them. So you're saying there's a chance. I think this offense is at their best when Pennell is distributing. They're also going to have Jules Hennenberg back. He's their best off-ball player and off-ball potential scorer. Also, half of the goals that the Water Dogs surrendered this season were assisted goals. So the way to beat this Water Dogs team is dropping a dime and having a quick shot. They've given up 51 goals assisted. So I think, he's trending in that direction. You have a matchup against a team that's favorable to have assisted goals, and he's their assisting guy. We're getting a great payout on this one. Give me that Rob Pennell over 2.5. Redwoods attackman plus 145. You can get that on MGM or on DraftKings.
Saturday, 12 o'clock, Chaos Archers. Archers minus 180 on the money line. You can grab the Chaos plus 145 on the money line. Again, these odds are at DraftKings right now. Under over 24 in the hook, juiced under minus 125. You can grab the Archers minus a goal and a half, minus 130. Chaos plus a goal and a half, even money plus 100.
I think if anything is more likely than not, it's Archers covering in this game. I think the Archers are a little bit pissed off. I think they're hearing a lot of noise about them being frauds. That's kind of what's talked about every year is this Archers team always has one of the best offenses, always is a competitive team, but then they choke at the end of the year. And it's fair criticism to have that they're just, not living up to what their potential is. And this Chaos team, while we talk about what a great spot getting the goal and a half has been, they've kind of been the exception to the rule. They've only covered 2 out of 6 games where they're getting a goal and a half. So this Chaos team, yes, they always surge late. Everybody's waiting for them to turn on the gas. I don't know if the gas is going to come. I think the fact that the Cannons, with what we've seen from them this year, the fact that they're even still alive in the playoff hunt tells you how much the Chaos are struggling. And it's not just, oh, they're missing their guys now. They have guys back and the results still aren't there. So I lean pretty heavy with the Archers minus the 1.5, but with what we know, laying 1.5 in this league, it's going to be a pass for me. But shocker, Jeff, I do have a prop that I'm liking in this one.
Hey, this is now your forte. Listen, if we don't have leans on the pre-flop game, which you always talk about in-game, but we got a prop, guys. So sit back, relax. We got you covered.
Well, and that's the thing that I just have really embraced, because we talked about it last week, Jeff, was just how excited I was that these prop offerings were opening up. Because at the beginning of the season, dude, I couldn't pick a goddamn prop winner to save my life, because what they were asking us to do was handicap highly bad numbers of points, which is a lot harder for me to handicap than if a player's going to get an assist or a player's going to get a goal. You know, you might think, oh, well, a point, then you get a bird in the hand worth two in the bush. You know what I mean? If you get a goal, that counts towards it. If you get an assist, it counts towards it. Yes, but you don't think the odds makers know that? So a number that should be 2.5 opens up 3.5 juice to the over. A number that should be 4.5 is opening up 4.5, but you got to lay minus 200 to back the over. And then the under take back is like plus 110. So it was just, as our friend Dave Sherapan says, the FU numbers were flying up all over the place. So now that they've opened it up and I'm able to handicap goals, assists, saves, I have just taken it to the next level with these player props, and the results speak for themselves. You know, a lot of people in this industry, Jeff, will just pat themselves on the back. Look at how amazing I am. You know, we don't talk about any of the losers. We only tell you about the winners. I told you at the top, I missed on the Will Manny prop last week, but we got other ones home, and that's why we handicap all of the games. The one that I love in this one, I'm looking at Grant Ament over 1.5 goals. You only have to lay minus 115 to do it. And the thing is, Grant Ament is one of the best players in the world. Since he's come back, though, this team has kind of had to reinvent themselves offensively. And that's what hurt us with Will Manny. His fellow attackman has definitely taken more of a backseat in the scoring side of things since Grant Ament has come back. But now you're looking at a healthy Grant Ament. Finally, he's going to be definitely trying to put a stamp in this game, and they want to potentially come out and make a statement. So you're seeing him healthy. I think he's also a tough schematic matchup for this Chaos defense. Chaos likes playing physical. Ament is really good at getting you to play physical and then duck right underneath you, because he's a smaller guy. He's a real shifty guy. He's a great counter for the way that this Chaos team wants to play. He's also had double-digit, potential scoring plays in 3 games. So he finds players in the assist side of things. I think he's just going to use those assists to set him up to shoot a little bit. He's finally feeling himself. We only have to lay minus 115 on a 1.5. I think he gets at least 2 goals. I think you might be looking at a hat trick out of him. So I don't hate you going with Amon's over 3.5 points if you want to get some plus money take back, because I think he is going to have a hattie. Can he add an assist to push us over that? It's plus 130. So I'm not going to talk you out of going over Amon's points. I just think the safer way to do it is lay the minus 115 and go over the goals. But I don't hate over his point total either. I think he has a good game with a matchup pretty good for him against this Chaos team.
Last game on the docket, 2:30 p.m. tomorrow, Cannons versus the Chrome. There's our number again. We'll get to that. Chrome minus 230. Cannons plus 185, under over 23 and a hook, juiced over minus 130. You can get the under at even money. Here's our 2.5 goal situation. Chrome minus 2.5 plus 115. You can grab the Cannons plus 2.5 minus 145.
Throw the blindfold on. We're taking the 2.5. I mean, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, Jeffrey. And also, you know, some people may lament, oh, you're just taking a bet blind. Well, going back to last year, 8-4 if you're playing this 2.5 spread just blindly. So you're getting a 2-1 take back on an advantageous position. And you're looking at a Chrome team that now is laying 2.5 goals after they were just underdogs last week. So this is a WTF line for me. Should Chrome be favorites? Sure. but they should be minus 1.5 favorites. And I would even argue they should be minus 1.5 favorites with a plus money take back on that. So yes, you have to lay minus 140 to take the 2.5, but I'm doing it. This Chrome team, this is the first time that they've ever been 2.5 point favorites in the history of the league. So they're laying a number they never have before. I still have questions on if they are the team we saw at 4-0 or if they're the team that we saw lose 3 straight games. So you're giving me 2.5 with the team I'm not that sold on as favorites, and that's as 1.5 point favorites. They're only 2-2 against the spread. Like I said, going back to last year, underdogs getting the 2.5 or 8-4. It's a bait job potentially by the books, because the concern in this one and why it isn't going to be, a max unit goat whale play for me is because there's a real possibility that this Cannons team just rolls over, because they not only have to win this week, they now have to win next week as well. So if Chrome does get, a 2-goal lead, there's one guy who won't give up, and that's Lyle Thompson. He's going to play this entire game. He's going to give it all that he has. And I'm not burying this Cannons team either, but it's just the psyche side of this where, hey, we did what we could do. It's just not our year. We only have one win to show for it. So what concerns me and why I think that this Chrome is laying the 2.5 is because there is that potential that Cannons don't get up for this game. Chrome's going to be up for this game. Chrome's going to be excited. However, Chrome also just clinched the playoffs for the first time since they've ever been a team. They've never been in the playoffs. So is there a little fat and sassy, hey, we're in, boys. We're in the big dance finally. Or do they want to try and go on a little bit of a run here at the end of the year? We don't know. That's why, we try and handicap these games. All I know is a team who's never laid a kind of number that's hard to cover in this league. Give me the other side of that. I'll take the 2.5 all day, Jeffrey.
And your player prop?
Oh, I just talked about my guy, Lyle Thompson. It's as square plays come. But we're going over Lyle Thompson on everything. In a must-win game, you're not going to tell me, I want to play over with the best player in the world. So give me the over 4.5 points. I wouldn't be shocked if we see a 6-point game out of Lyle Thompson. He's going to be distributing. He's going to be dodging. Even in garbage time, that could be the best thing for us. Let's say Chrome are up 6 goals and their defense, what the fuck do they care? Sorry, I got a little excited there, Jeffrey. But, what the heck do they care? And, then that could really set up nicely for us. So I think there's several different game scripts of the way that this game could go. Every single one of those scripts involves Lyle Thompson having a big game. So give me the over 4.5 points. That's plus 110 on the take back. I also think over 2.5 goals for Lyle Thompson. That's worth a sprinkle as well, because then you're not fighting with that potential, point hurting you by a half hook or anything like that. And then the last one that I'm going to do, I have to lay a little bit as well, but over 1.5 assists minus 150 for Lyle Thompson. So we're going with the trifecta. Let's get him to have 2 assists. Let's get him to have a hat trick. And then that covers the whole kit and caboodle. We go over 4.5 points. We go over 2.5 goals, and we go over 1.5 assists. I think you could hit all of them. If we hit one of the plus money ones, we're looking pretty darn good on that one. So give me over Lyle Thompson with everything like I need to breathe, Jeff.
Next week, where do they travel to?
So next week, let me pull that up actually for you, because I know next week is the last week of the PLL season. So that's something to definitely track here, because if Chaos win this week, Jeffrey, the playoff seeding is done. Like the only thing you can do is either move up or move down. But if Whip Snakes win this week, nobody can catch them to get the 1 seed. If Chaos win this week, nobody can catch them to be in the playoffs. So the Cannons would be eliminated, and the Whip Snakes with a win would lock up the 1 seed, which, I'm not going to say anything's rigged or anything like that, but the league definitely does not want there to be a final week of the season heading to Seattle, Washington, where nothing matters. You know what I mean? So that's why I kind of like this Atlas. That's why I kind of like this Cannons. I'm a major tinfoil hat guy, I guess it sounds like right now with these conspiracy theories. But the last thing a league wants is going to a place where they're trying to grow the game, going all the way out to Washington, their furthest west game that they're having this season, and not having anything to play for. So I think I think this could be one of our best weeks. I feel really good about these picks, Jeff. So that's why I'm going to knock on wood. When I feel this good, I feel like there's something that I'm missing. But sometimes it's just you got some damn good handicaps for the week, and I'm hoping it's the latter.
Where are the games? Any games on ESPN, ESPN Deuce, or?
So for this weekend, we're all on ESPN Plus because I think ESPN had some other things going on. So tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern, ESPN Plus, Atlas Whipsnakes. Watch the first half of the Eagles game. Let's cash our first half minus 130 money line with the Eagles, and then switch on over and root on a Baccaro assist. How nice would it be if we start off the night with a plus 185 ticket, Jeff? We're going to be pigs in slop if that's how we start off the weekend, man.
Scroll has been going the whole time. You can catch Dan at Newbie Talks at Bet on Lacrosse, the cash consideration show with the family there. Wager Talk, 8:30 a.m. WEEU, and of course at Premier Lacrosse. Close us out, Dan. Tell them all the good spots.
Always appreciate coming on here, Jeff. It's the best way to start the weekend is with my guy up north, and I'm going to be seeing you in a couple weeks. The first weekend of September, I'm going to be up. I got my Airbnb booked. I could basically walk to Gillette Stadium if I wanted to, so I'm ready to be hanging up with the boys up north. But you can catch me, as Jeff said. Follow me on Twitter to find all the things that I have at Newbie Talks. That's the best way to follow me. You see me right over the head. You can follow me there, and I love interacting with you. Reach out to me, send me a DM. I'm literally a message away. I always reply, so please, would love to hear from you. You can check out Sports Memo Today on Sports Memo. I host that show. You can check out Asian Baseball Today on Wager Talk. I host that as well, and we got some pretty exciting things in the work for cash considerations. We haven't been on for a while. We've had about, a month plus of no shows, but that's because we're coming back bigger and better than ever. And maybe even an in-person show at one of the books out in Las Vegas next week. You'll have to stay tuned for that, but it's pretty darn exciting things happen, Jeffrey, as you well know. But always love chatting with you, man. Thank you, brother.
We can't thank you enough. Next week, the final week till the playoffs. And as you talked and I talked behind the scenes in the start of this, we're working on a NFL show throughout the year where you will be the Philly. I don't know. Maybe we might have to have you bring in the mascot, or you might have to wear the bird.
Oh, wait, Jeff, hold on for 1 second. I know we're going a little bit long here. I got a little something for you in that aspect. So, so if we can get, some potential underdog spots, I always come prepared, Jeffrey. Let's go, dogs, baby. We're barking tonight, Jeffrey. Let's go, baby. I'm always ready to roll.
The one and only Dan Alexander at Newbie Talks, myself, Jeff Dawson at EC Sports Invest. We can't thank you guys enough for watching. And if you haven't subscribed already, please jump over to YouTube. Check out East Coast Sports Investors on YouTube and Twitch. And again, make sure you are following Dan. He is one of those guys that when you do follow, he follows back. And then when you do ask him a question, boom, he replies right back. So as always, we can't thank you enough. Got plenty of stuff to cash tonight. And for the weekend, we can't wait. Go Birds, go Birds. Have a great, great weekend. And we will catch you next weekend, my brother.
Appreciate you.